for anybody out there, and not to be obvious enough for anybody out there, and not surprising, but really it is kind of surprising how often we're seeing this repetition of all-seeing eye symbolism and the majority of society still not waking up to what's actually going on in our world. But The Death of Slim Shady from Eminem is the newest album, and I've covered some of the trailers and the teasers as well as the song and music video Houdini, which is about a 33rd degree Freemason, and of course all about magic, which is really what we're seeing in front of our eyes. These people spell casting on society, these people that we're supposed to believe are famous because of their talents, who are only famous because they're all members of the same secret societies, and their job is to influence society's behavior. And that's what you've seen go on over the last 100 years or so since the television has come out. And now more than ever, these demons like Eminem have influenced our society so much so that you walk around and you see people and you realize, wow, a lot of these people are on autopilot. A lot of these people don't even seem human anymore. And you could thank people like Eminem for it. But let's start with the obvious here, right? I mean, they're really trying to get creative, I guess, with the all-seeing eye symbols, because they have Eminem in a body bag, which is a blessing, but they have Eminem in a body bag. Of course, we could all look at, like I talked about earlier in a previous video, the cloning of Eminem and a lot of the symbolism with the real Eminem already being dead, but that's in a previous video. I won't go into detail about that. But look at just the obvious here, right? All-seeing eye symbolism from Eminem, and they don't expect you to see the repetition and the pattern, you know? They don't expect you to see things like maybe all of these collages out there of every single person that we know of who is famous putting a hand over their eye or putting an A-OK sign over their eye, which is really a 666 sign for anybody out there that's new to all of this. And of course, they just do it over and over and over again, but they don't expect you to see the pattern of them on magazine covers or doing prominent shoots on runways or on red carpet events where they're just putting their hand over their eye. Now you got to think to yourself, is this something that you do at your home, where you're taking a photo with mom or dad or your kids or your boyfriend or girlfriend? Now, I'm sure at this stage there are people who are simulating this because that's how this whole thing works. Monkey see, monkey do. That's why you see a lot of the behavior on social media where people are taking pictures of their food, they're taking pictures of themselves wherever they go. In fact, they're being trained to be more interested in the photography of what they can show off of themselves than they are actually living in real time. But nonetheless, this is all staged, obviously. This is all deliberate posing of all-seeing eye symbolism. And again, this goes back to the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, the eye of providence. You can see the eye on the back of your dollar bill. For anybody out there that thinks it's some type of giant conspiracy, well, they never really tell you what the eyeball and the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill are. What do you think? All of these celebrities are just fans of the dollar bill? Is that what we're supposed to believe? That all these people who keep putting one eye up, they just love money and they love specifically the dollar, that they just constantly put their hand over there? Of course, that's not true. If you look into secret societies and Freemasonry, you will see the same exact symbolism, right? The black and white Masonic checkerboard floor. Of course, the compass, the Masonic compass, and you always see the eyeball associated with that Masonic compass in Freemasonry. That's because these are all members of the same secret societies. Now, a lot of them are higher up than just Freemasons, but it starts at a Freemasonic level. That's how they infiltrate your towns across the world. There are Freemason lodges in every single town. If there's not one in your town, there's one in the town next to you. You've never even noticed it, but guess what? Drive down a highway, you'll see signs for the Freemasonic lodges. You'll see signs for all of the Masonic lodges, the Eastern Star lodges. Why? Well, when these people travel, they know where to go. They network in their secret societies wherever they are. Whenever they're out of town, they go and they stop into a Masonic lodge. And what is the common theme in these Freemasonic lodges? Well, world domination, New World Order, I should say. And of course, the fact that once you are elevated in Freemasonry, you reach a certain degree, you learn that Lucifer is God, and that is who they worship. So Eminem, no surprise here. Did anybody want to tell Eminem, hey, Em, you've done a lot of this symbolism with, putting your finger in your eye? What are you, wiping an eye booger? Or, playing peekaboo with your hand over your eye? And again, Eminem does this all the time, right in plain sight, right? We've seen Eminem do the 666 over his eye in his music videos. We've seen Eminem, again, one of the most common ones that nobody talks about is they think that these guys are rugged and they're being intimidated, or they're fans of horror movies. They show you their baptism in the occult, their baptism in Satanism when they sit in these bloodbaths, right? We've seen Eminem sitting in the bloodbath, and nobody thinks anything of it. They think that these guys are real rugged, they have street cred, like they're in a gang. These guys couldn't be more soft in a sense. I mean, these people are not who they portray, obviously, in their music videos, but this is them showing you who they really are. Eminem is in a bathtub of blood because Eminem is baptized in Satanism. Like Christians are baptized in water, so to speak. A lot of Christians go and have their baptisms in water, right? Satanists are baptized in blood. So Eminem's showing you who he worships, right? I just covered this song recently, this trailer, I should say, for his album, which I'm about to get into, where they showed the birth of the Antichrist, right? Eminem, of course, always holding up the devil horns. We've seen Eminem demonically possessed with the black goo and the black eyes. In fact, we've even had Eminem rap about this, and nobody's suspicious, which I've covered before, and I just put this video back up over on the website that I found from a while ago. But here's Eminem just talking about, you know, letting the devil in. Right, so do you see the common theme here with an obsession with the devil, an obsession with Lucifer, this obsession with eyeballs that you see with Hollywood, this obsession with the devil, okay? And if you don't see it yet, well, let me just show you two of the names of the songs that are on his new album, because he just released the names of the songs and put the tracks without music videos yet, and I'll be covering the music videos because I'm sure they'll be filled with stuff, because two of the songs are called Lucifer and Antichrist. Is that enough for anybody out there yet? To see that these people not only worship the devil, they're not trolling, they're grooming you. They're grooming Antichrist behavior, they're grooming Luciferian behavior, making you like the things that you like, making you think the way that you think, right? If you actually go through and read the Bible, you'll see that a lot of things that are being normalized and promoted in this world are the opposite of what God tells us to do and the way that God tells us to live. So what they do in the occult, people like Eminem, and really they're handlers, because Eminem isn't writing this stuff. Eminem isn't really, he's just a pawn for handlers who do all this stuff, and then he pushes it out. He's the influencer. But what they do in the occult is they read the Bible too, but they read it backwards. Now, and I don't mean they'd open it at the back of the book and go the opposite direction. They read the Bible as if everything that God forbids that they should do, because they worship the devil. So all of God's rules, all of God's laws, they defile, they go against it. Now they're trying to normalize that on a mass scale. So in other words, when they're baptized in Satanism, they're supposed to denounce Christ, which they do. They're given a wheel and they break it down and make the peace sign, but they also break every one of the 10 commandments. They break all of them, including murder, okay? And everything you see being normalized, like these agendas with people wearing the opposite clothing, with the LG, all of this stuff is in opposition of God. They're creating an army without these people even realizing it that is in opposition of everything that God forbids here on earth. They're creating a society, obviously, of Satanists. So if you actually look at the lyrics of his song Lucifer and Antichrist, he goes on to talk about how his mom birthed the spawn of Lucifer. He goes on in Antichrist to refer to himself as the Antichrist. He says Marshall is the Antichrist. He's the Antichrist. He even goes on to talk about this formulated behavior that you see a lot of these celebrities. They manufacture this behavior, right? So some of the lyrics are how Eminem is being censored on TikTok. Now, is that true at all? Of course not. You think Eminem or any of these celebrities are censored? They're nowhere even near censored. This is to normalize censorship. He talks about being censored on TikTok because even people who aren't conspiracy theorists are being censored, and we're all allowing this and putting up with this. And a lot of the lyrics of the music is just making this normal, where we're supposed to speak, oh yeah, I'm censored on TikTok. Oh yeah, I'm censored on YouTube. Oh yeah, I'm censored on Facebook. When what should be happening is people should be rising up against big tech. And if you can't rise up against big tech, then you remove yourself from the internet. You remove yourself from technology instead of giving the power to them and allowing them to censor. But they're making it normal. And he raps about that in his music as if he's actually censored. Nobody thinks about that, right? He's rapping about how he's banned off of TikTok, how he's getting, Eminem isn't getting banned from any platform, right? So then why is he rapping about it? Because he's telling you, you're going to be banned. You are banned, right? Because people out there are getting banned left and right, not just people like me, but people out there who have any opinion on stuff that they're not allowed to have an opinion on. And we're supposed to just accept this behavior. And when they rap about stuff like that, it ingrains it in your head that this is just the way it is. And it shouldn't be the way that it is. He even goes on to rap about Candace Owens. For anybody out there that wonders about Candace Owens, people go, oh, is Candace Owens one of them? Candace Owens broke away. Okay, there are all of these people who are not censored, who don't have to restart channels, who don't have to rename themselves, who are promoted, who are on Fox News or any of these stations. They're all compromised. That's just the way it is, and people out there don't want to realize it. I'm not saying that I'm the only one out there that isn't one of them. There's plenty of YouTubers out there that aren't, a part of the gang. Guess what? You probably haven't heard of them for a reason. Anybody out there that made a following over the years for exposing this stuff is gone. And the people who are gone, you should look at and say, oh, I guess they were pretty credible because they're not allowed to speak anymore. And if they do, they have to rebrand themselves so nobody can find them. Candace Owens is being rapped about in the entire song, Antichrist, talking about MAGA, talking about Candace Owens, working into this left-right divide with black and white, and how Candace Owens is, who was also associated with Kanye West, which should tell people all they need to know, but talking about how Candace Owens is against the Black Lives Matters movement, right? And this is just more honey trap stuff. You wouldn't be rapping about Candace Owens if Candace Owens wasn't a part of the game here and a part of the plan. The left-right paradigm, I get it. And I've seen what a lot of people have shown me over the years with Candace Owens, especially recently with Candace Owens coming out and speaking against a certain group of people. But I don't take the bait because there's clearly a design trap in Candace Owens, or Candace Owens would have been thrown off the internet like everybody else who's talked about that specific group of people. And of course, we've seen now, like I said, they've hijacked conspiracy. So they're trying to make it somewhat mainstream, but not giving you all the truths to it. So they're talking about things like even bringing up Project Bluebeam, but not going into detail about Aleister Crowley and demons, right? Going into, oh, it's a government operation. Watch out for the Project Bluebeam. They're taking truths and they're giving you a little bit of a taste, because how else are they going to lead you in? How else are they going to deceive you and trap you? People go, well, how are they really going to trap me? Well, you'll see, because the deceptions are only going to get worse, especially after the fake outcome of this fake election in 2024. So he's rapping about MAGA. He's rapping about the Antichrist. In fact, I've showed you the trailer where he shows the Antichrist actually being born. And, just how many albums can these guys have about this same topic? People out there see this, they're like, oh, he's trolling. Oh, it's part of his gimmick, his brand. Huh? You got the guy, dyeing his hair. Who's the real, will the real Slim Shady please stand up again, talking about cloning pretty much right in front of you. This guy is talking about almost in every single album, human sacrifice, blood sacrifice, Lucifer, Antichrist. Yeah, people out there think that this is all creative and artsy. The truth is right in front of everybody, right? The truth is right on the photo for his album where he has one eye showing, right? How many times does Eminem need to show us one eye symbolism for people out there to get it? How many times do we need, was Eminem inspired by the collages that I showed you of all the celebrities who just conveniently are in magazines or in album covers holding a hand up over their eye? Are they playing just a massive game of peekaboo with each other? Can anybody explain? Of course they can. I can. I'm explaining it to you right now. They worship Lucifer. And why is that a problem? Well, it's a huge problem for people out there that go, well, if you believe in God, why can't they believe in Lucifer? Well, if you actually understand what they really believe about what should happen to the human race, how they're trying to mix human beings' genetic code, how they commit sacrifice with youngsters, all the things that they do involving blood, well, then you would say, well, wait a minute. So they're a cult of people who are mass murderers, like the Ted Bundys of the world, right? Yes. And that's where the problem lies, right? And they have all the power. They're wielding all the influence. They're censoring anyone that speaks against this cabal. And of course, what else are they doing? They're influencing society's behavior. They're manufacturing an army of Satanists, an army with this depraved, this sickness, this mental sickness that is a Satanist in general. So they're all in on it together. I mean, it's not a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy when you see the pictures, the images of all the same symbolism, the signs and symbols, right? When you see how it's all connected to Freemasonry and secret societies, and it's higher than just Freemasonry. I understand that, but it's all rooted in Freemasonry, right? The Kabbalah, all this stuff is rooted in Freemasonry. They're all rooted and knotted together. These people could expand into higher secret societies, obviously, and we know there's groups above Freemasonry that are pulling the strings. Obviously, we have the Vatican and we have the land over there, Israel, right? So we can't go into more detail about that other than what I've covered here already, but there's going to be videos I'll probably have to put out on the song Antichrist and the song Lucifer. Why? Well, we can already imagine what the videos are going to be about, right? And this is them revealing themselves to you every single day. I have a video on almost every single celebrity and every single musician where you could see them doing the all-seeing eye, the shh, right? Another Masonic pose where they're telling you that it's a big secret you're not supposed to know about. The black and white Masonic checkerboard forwards, the monarch butterfly, all these signs and symbols, right? I have a video on almost every single one of them where they expose themselves for who they truly are. There's no conspiracy here when you actually see the pattern here and you see the signs and symbols. Like Confucius said, right? Signs and symbols rule the world. And they do. They reveal themselves every single day, but people out there are not smart enough to figure out, or they're too prideful to get past that. They like these celebrities too much. They're like, oh, Eminem. I've seen people over the years like, oh, Eminem's helped me get out of rough times. I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? He's helped you get out of rough time. Like, yeah, I was going through something. I was listening to his music. Have you ever thought maybe you were going through the rough time because you were listening to this stuff? Because all the lyrics of this music, how would that inspire you? These people are talking about nothing more than getting high, human sacrifice. They're spell casting on you. The only thing on this earth that helps anybody overcome anything is Jesus Christ. That's it. So these people out there, they correlate music and celebrities with times in their lives, which is part of the mind control, it's part of the hypnosis. We could all think back on things when we were children that comforted us, right? So that you watch now, like if you see a movie that you watched from the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, right? And you think of it now, you're like, oh, it reminds me of when I was a kid, better times. And you might put it on, you might watch it, or a song. That's the point. That's how this spell casting works. These people are not, people don't want to break free from it because of themselves. They refuse to. Disney is the big thing I've exposed over the years many times, right? People refuse to break free from Disney because it reminds them of their childhood, it reminds them of simpler times, right? That's how this works. And it's all rooted in the occult. But people have to get over themselves and realize that these people are all in on it together. And they show you this every single day. They're not more talented. They don't know, they're not better than you are. They don't work harder than you. They make more sacrifice than you. They tell you this, right? They sacrifice to get there. How many times you hear these musicians say that they sacrificed to get to where they are? Well, they did. Human sacrifice. That's how they got where they are. So Eminem, again, with another album, The Death of Slim Shady, right on the cover, The All-Seeing Eye. If it isn't obvious enough, he's even got songs dedicated to the Antichrist and Lucifer, but we're all the conspiracy nuts, right? Eminem is putting this out just to troll small-time YouTubers like me. Sure. Keep telling yourself that. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.
With multiple income sources, tracking my expenses and earnings for taxes feels like a whole other job. That's where the pros at H&R Block saved the day. They do it on my schedule. And I know it's going to be done right.
Welcome back, No DQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the No DQ review number 324. I am the moderator, Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the review. Aaron Rift is here, Gino is here, Jeff Meacham is back, and Son is back in the house. What's going on, everybody? And anytime he's on, I go to him first. Son, what's going on?
Hey everybody, Son Goshoku here with The Rock finally back to help boost the WrestleMania build-up. I am ready to sink my teeth into this discussion for all the possibilities. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
And, Son, I think is something. What was SmackDown's ratings with The Rock on there? Like up? It was up about, 300,000 people. The demo was like
This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. Should it surprise anyone that Johnny Depp is getting set to star in the role that he was born to star in? Of course, that's of Satan. And we could look at Johnny Depp's roles over the years, and most of them have some type of connection to Satan. A lot of them do, at least. But we also could look at Johnny Depp off screen and see his connection to his god, Satan, because he's always showing us the signs and symbols and the connection. And if you take note of this new movie called Carnival at the End of Days, you'll notice that the director goes by the name of Terry Gilliam. And I'll cover Terry Gilliam after I cover Johnny Depp. For people out there that don't know, Johnny Depp is one of the most in-our-faces Satanists out in the open. He's always flashing the signs and symbols. It's very easy to see, and it's very scary also to see just how obsessed the majority of our society is with Johnny Depp. They love Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp can do no wrong. In fact, even conservatives and Christians seem to love Johnny Depp, I guess because they love some of his films like Pirates of the Caribbean, and they can't get past the idol worship of these movies to actually realize that these people are devil worshippers. Now, I've covered Johnny Depp and his connection to Marilyn Manson. Most of you probably know that they're the closest of friends. Even, in fact, Marilyn Manson talked about some of the rituals that were done with Johnny Depp and Hunter S. Thompson, who I'll get into as well, at the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood, because that's where a lot of these rituals happen, and on a specific floor where there's soundproof rooms. But most people think that celebrities are having good when they talk, partying all night, get crazy. They just think that they're punching the walls, I guess, and doing all sorts of stuff that we can't comprehend. And that's true. We can't comprehend it, but you could just watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas if you want to know what Johnny Depp is up to when he's staying at Hotel Marmont, or probably what Johnny Depp is up to every single day in his normal life. So here's Johnny Depp just doing the 666 over his eye. For anyone out there that's not familiar, the same occult symbols, all these people obsessed with their eyeballs, always doing the one eye symbolism. This is the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, which you can see on the back of the dollar bill. He does it pretty much anytime he has a photo shoot. Just like anytime any of these celebrities have a photo shoot, they just conveniently always have a thumb or a hand or a finger over one of their eyes. And this is biblical, of course. In Zechariah chapter 11, verse 17, woe to the worthless shepherd who leaves the flock. A sword will be on his arm and on his right eye. His arm will be totally withered and his right eye will be blind. This is why we always see the one eye symbolism. You can see Johnny Depp doing his Freemasonic symbolism as well. The hand over the heart. Most of you think of this, and what do you think? He's doing the Pledge of Allegiance? I mean, most of these Hollywood actors have pretty much said that they hate America, right? Johnny Depp, one of these guys who talked about Trump, talked about leaving America. So he's not doing the Pledge of Allegiance out in the open. He's doing his Pledge of Allegiance to Freemasonry, to the secret society that he's a member of. And he's definitely gone above Freemasonry, because once they get to a certain level, 33rd degree Freemason, then they go into different secret societies. And he's definitely well above that. We know that for a fact based on how famous Johnny Depp is, how much wealth he's assumed, and how Johnny Depp is pretty much untouchable in the public eye. So here he is doing the hand over the heart. We've seen Johnny Depp even doing the other common Masonic pose, the finger over the lip, where they go, shh, right? Sometimes they'll do it with just a finger on the lip. Sometimes they'll do it with a hand on the lip. This, of course, is referencing the Freemasonic vow of secrecy, the oath of silence that they take. He even does it in Pirates of the Caribbean, right on the cover. One of the, it's pretty incredible. What is the pirate? Did the pirate just break wind and he doesn't want anyone to know? And what is the big secret here? Well, the secret is that all of these celebrities are members of secret societies. The illusion that they're just better than you are, they're more talented than anybody else, that's an illusion. These are trained operatives, government operatives. They go through secret societies like Freemasonry. They're trained in MK Ultra and mind control programming. Okay, that's what acting essentially is. They're programming you. They're programming you into not just idol worship, but they're programming you with social engineering, because most people follow what these celebrities tell them to follow. So Johnny Depp showing you the vow of secrecy, the oath of silence that they all take. We've seen Johnny Depp even pose in photographs with famed photographer Terry. Most people probably don't know Terry. You're like, Terry Richardson, famed photographer. Well, he's famous in occult circles because a lot of those pictures when people get busted and caught with photographs, and you say, who's photographing these things that are going on behind closed doors with youngsters? Well, Terry Richardson is. He's the photographer of the stars. That's why you can find almost every celebrity in some creepy photograph with Terry Richardson, from Jared Leto to Johnny Depp to Miley Cyrus. They all pose with Terry because Terry's their guy. Terry's the one who helps get them access to these youngsters whenever they need to. So Terry is known in occult circles as one of the photographers of the stars. I guess, this whole illusion that we have of photography when it comes to celebrities, these photographs that they take, when I talk about them doing these magazine covers with one hand over their eye, right? Well, if you or me were taking the photograph, say you went to school to be a photographer, right? And you're like, I'm a photographer, great. I got hired by this place, and they're going to let me do a photo shoot for GQ with Johnny Depp. Well, that's never going to happen in a trillion years, because all the people who did the photography are all people like Terry Richardson. So who do you think is telling them to put their hand over their eye and to do the shh on their mouth? Because you probably wouldn't ask Johnny Depp to do that in a photo shoot. You would just be focused on, is it good lighting? How does he look? How's his makeup, right? Well, Terry is put in those positions for those shoots, but those aren't the real photo shoots that Terry does. Of course, Terry does take those pictures because that's the ruse, right? Oh, Terry's a photographer of the stars, but Terry's really the one who photographs and films all the activities that are done in secret that you'll never find out about. But that's why Terry's one of those guys you can look at and you just know what Terry's involved in. Like I talk about with some of these guys like Bezos, you can just look at Terry Richardson, okay? You get a feeling over you. If you have, at least I know I do. And I say people with the Holy Spirit, we could sense these people, right? If you're out in public and these, sometimes you feel someone staring at you, don't you stare and see somebody staring? You feel eyes on you, and you could just sense a demon around you or someone who's not filled with the Holy Spirit. Well, Terry Richardson is one of these guys. You can just look at a photo of him and you know what he's involved in. It's very, 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 very clear. So another thing with Johnny Depp, before I get into Terry Gilliam, the director of the film that he's about to star in as Satan, is the connection to the West Memphis 3. Now, a lot of people out there think they're awake. I know a lot of people who follow my channels, follow a lot of the crime channels and stuff like that. And they've heard about the West Memphis 3 who were freed. These are three kids, okay? They were convicted of a crime. The crime was they slaughtered other young kids, okay? And they were arrested for it. And in their house, they found all sorts of satanic stuff, the Satanic Bible. But they specifically found a blood oath contract that they had with Aleister Crowley, okay, inside their home. So when they went on trial, of course, they hired HBO to make it seem like these kids were innocent of the crime, that there was no evidence. They were framing them because they wore Metallica shirts and they were gothic. And that was the whole mindset. So people out there who are awake actually fell for the propaganda that HBO produced. But the reality of the matter is Damien Eccles, who you see on the screen, has a connection, a blood connection to Aleister Crowley. And what they did was they wanted to free these kids. So all of these celebrities like Johnny Depp and Eddie Vedder went out of their way to push the propaganda from HBO, along with HBO, to get these kids freed from prison. So they put propaganda out there saying there was no evidence. They were convicted because they wore Metallica shirts. Metallica got involved. All these celebrities cared so much about this specific case that even after these kids were convicted of the crimes, they were let out of prison. Now, you might say, I don't believe that, because there's stories circulating about the father's involvement. His DNA was found on a shoelace, things like that. No arrests have ever been made. These are the ones responsible for it, Eccles and his friends. And of course, you might say, well, Eccles is free now. What's he doing? Well, Eccles is promoted on YouTube, performing black magic. He's teaching people out there cult sigils. He's famous now because of the connection to these Hollywood celebrities, right? And of course, he's not censored at all. He could teach kids all about alchemy and black magic, while people like me can't even point out that celebrities are holding their hand up over their eyes, because apparently that's hate speech in today's society. So Johnny Depp helped free these children who were clearly guilty, who had a blood oath contract with Aleister Crowley. Instead of pointing out what that meant and why they would even have a contract drawn up in blood with Aleister Crowley and his books, all of his books, which talk about black magic and summoning spirits and summoning Satan by performing rituals and doing sacrifice, nobody wanted to point that part out. In the documentary, they just said that's all hogwash. That stuff doesn't really happen. So all the Christians, everybody out there just fell for the propaganda. And now they don't even think about it anymore. Now that the kids are out in the streets, can't imagine the rituals that Eccles and his fellow friends are involved in these days. But of course, Johnny Depp helped with that. And as most of you know, Johnny Depp, one of his most infamous roles, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where he plays Hunter S. Thompson, his buddy. Hunter S. Thompson, of course. Most of you will go, I don't even know who Hunter S. Thompson is. Who's Hunter S. Thompson? Well, Hunter S. Thompson is the character that Johnny Depp plays in Fear and Loathing, right? You know, the guy who is drinking that red liquid. Do you think about what that, I can't say the word, right? But let's just say it gives you a rush of adrenaline. Okay, this red liquid that they're obsessed with. That's what the film really, part of the plot of the film is about. Okay, is Johnny Depp getting that red liquid? And now a lot of people are aware of that, because a lot of things have come out in the open. So Hunter S. Thompson is nobody knows what he's famous for. He was on David Letterman. He's famous for being a hunter, okay? He hunts, youngsters. That's what Hunter S. Thompson did while he was here on Earth. And Johnny Depp couldn't be more obsessed with Hunter S. Thompson, of course, because they were doing it together. And when Hunter S. Thompson passed, Johnny was heartbroken about it. But my point about Fear and Loathing isn't just that red liquid. It's about who directed it. Well, the same guy who's about to direct this latest film, Terry Gilliam. Here's Terry. You can just look at Terry. Like I said, with Terry Richardson, you could see, the eyes are the window of the soul. You can see him here holding up the 666 sign, right? You can see him doing the X Antichrist over his chest, the X symbol that all these celebrities do as well. What do you think? He's hugging himself, okay? Now, he's famous, or became famous, like his big breakout thing was Monty Python. And if you don't know, Monty Python was, I don't understand how people find this stuff funny, but to each their own, I suppose. Monty Python has a lot of stuff that they used to put out in Freemasonry, okay? You could look them up for yourself, Monty Python, how to recognize a Mason. They would mock the handshakes. A lot of BBC television, I'm going to do some videos on it, would openly talk about Freemasonry, but they would make fun of it like it's silly, like it's goofy, to give the impression that it was just like adult fraternity, because, back then, people noticed things a little bit more, so they saw Freemasonic lodges and they wondered what they were doing, and they really put the stuff out there about, hey, these guys are just a bunch of guys who graduate college and then they're in a fraternity. They're all silly and goofy. So on the BBC, Monty Python would put stuff out where they would mock the handshakes. They would do the humiliation rituals out in the streets and things like that. And it kind of dismissed the notion of what Freemasonry really is, about worshiping Lucifer. It gave the impression that they're all funny goofballs like Monty Python. Now, in today's world, nobody even knows that these Freemason lodges exist because everybody's looking at their phone. So you drive by them all the time and you don't even notice this stuff because nobody's alert or paying attention to anything that's around them. So Terry Gilliam, also, if you're not familiar, with not just directing that film, he also has a film called The Imaginarium of Dr. Paracelsus, okay, where you could see right on the movie poster for it, you can see the black and white Masonic checkerboard floor. Now, it's worth noting, for anyone out there that's wondering, you might remember an actor by the name of Heath Ledger, okay, played the Joker, and then he mysteriously died. Well, he was in the middle of filming this movie, which was directed by Gilliam, okay? And he was replaced in the movie. You see the black and white Masonic checkerboard floor again on the ground. He was replaced in the movie by Johnny Depp, but there's an infamous photo of him in the film where he has a rope around his neck, a very Masonic photograph of Heath Ledger, who coincidentally left the earth shortly after that. You can connect the dots yourself on that. And inside of that film, of course, not just that cover with the Masonic checkerboard floor, is filled with Freemasonic symbolism. You could see some of the symbolism here with the third eye, the all-seeing eye. These are all things that you'll find inside a Masonic lodge, and you'll see all the celebrities openly doing it out in the open. But remember, they want you to believe that you become famous by talent and hard work. That's why they tell you all the stories behind the celebrities and how they become famous, and they're all make-believe stories, right? They went to Hollywood, they kept trying, they waited tables, they kept working at it. But they're so talented, they finally broke through. No. These are government operatives. They're all members of secret societies. They've all been planted in these positions, and their job is to influence you, influence your behavior. And that's why we're in the position we're in now as a society. You could thank people like Depp. You could thank people like Gilliam. And for anyone out there wondering the plot of the film, of course, the plot for that film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Paracelsus, or let's just call him Paraanus, the leader of a traveling show has a dark secret. Thousands of years ago, he traded the soul of his daughter to the devil. Now the devil has come to collect his prize. To save her, he must make a final wager. Whoever collects 5 souls first wins Valentina. Tony, Heath Ledger, a man saved from hanging by Paracelsus' troop, agrees to help collect them with his all-seeing eye, on marrying Valentina. Of course, that's the plot. So now we come full circle, right? Johnny Depp's been in Fear and Loathing with this guy. Johnny Depp, what's the connection there? Well, of course, it's always the same connection. Freemasonry and secret societies. These people all worship Satan. This guy seems very obsessed with Satan, right? This guy Gilliam. And of course, he talks about this new movie that he has called Carnival at the End of Days. And he even says in an interview, the film's about God deciding to destroy humanity for effing up his beautiful garden. That's the quote from this man. A film about God deciding to destroy humanity because they messed up his beautiful garden. Well, it's people like this who messed up everything in this world, right? The ones who ate of the forbidden fruit are these people in these secret societies like Depp, etc. Right? That's why they openly brag about having the hidden knowledge. That's what they're speaking of. And the knowledge they believe they have is Lucifer is the god of this world, and they're gods among us. So, is it a surprise that Johnny Depp is going to be playing Satan in the upcoming film? No, it's not a surprise, because this is the role that Johnny Depp was clearly born to play. And I'll cover the film if I'm still around when it comes out. I mean, I won't be on this channel, but I'll be somewhere else if anyone's still following me. And I'm sure it'll be filled with more stuff, because when you hear the plot, it has something to do, again, who do they put as the protagonist in all these movies? Satan. Who is the enemy? Who is the villain? The antagonist. It's always now God. Haven't you noticed that theme? TV shows like Lucifer. You hear the show. There's a show called Lucifer. What's it about? What's about Lucifer? He's a detective. And you're like, what? That's really stupid. And like, well, Lucifer's helping solve crimes. He's really not a bad guy. And you go, wait, what? Oh, Lucifer's the good guy in the show. Yeah, he's the good guy. He's the victim. Who is the bad guy in the show? Well, of course, God is, because this is the inverted reality that they're creating. And the same with this movie, right? Johnny Depp will be Satan. Everybody will run to see it. They'll be excited to see Johnny Depp. They'll love it. He'll make Satan seem so cool. And of course, who's the bad guy trying to kill humanity? God. But the reality of the matter is, who's really trying to destroy humanity? These people are. And they're getting away with it. And even Gilliam is one of these people talking about artificial intelligence and technology. And they say, oh, what do you think about it? It's going to take jobs away, et cetera. He said there's no stopping it, right? Because he knows what AI really is. And this guy is just another Satanist out in the open, just like Johnny Depp. So I wanted to cover that for people out there that didn't know. Of course, anytime there's a story like, all right, Johnny Depp's playing Satan, then you just look into who's the director. Then you look into, oh, wow, he's done this, he's done that. A lot of satanic stuff. Yep. Not coincidental, because they're all part of the same secret societies, the same brotherhood. The Brotherhood of Lucifer, also known as the Freemasonic Brotherhood. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you as always, and your families.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gotta run. It's a big bite. It's a big life. Zoom, zoom, live fast, big mood. Big plans and a bigger attitude. Life's short, so you gotta live it up within the limit. Cause it's just a visit. If you blink, you miss it. Listen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gotta run. Take a big bite. It's a big life.
I have a lot of people who do not like wrestling like me. They buy merchandise and they will buy tickets to come to the shows to see me.
You go from indie wrestler to this.
Being able to trickle into that version of me was more comfortable and suiting.
You don't just trickle into putting makeup on.
No.
That's a big line you cross.
Yes.
2020 into 2021, you were everywhere.
Just constantly putting my name out there.
So much popularity that AEW couldn't ignore you.
But yeah, it snowballed from there.
What exactly happens when Danhausen curses someone?
Hopefully they're superstitious enough to where something happens to work for them.
Have you cursed MJF?
Not on screen.
You should.
He does deserve it.
What's the dream match?
I really, really wish.
You've blown the budget for the entire year for this extremely expensive CGI.
Well, I appreciate you didn't just use AI.
CGI to have you in your human makeup.
Yeah.
So good to see you again.
You too. It's been what, 4 years?
Been a long time.
4 years via Zoom, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe during the pandemic era.
Just not the same.
Or before, I don't know.
I know it was definitely during.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Not the same.
No, in studio.
But the CGI has gotten even better. Like look
Full body CGI.
look how good you look. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Do you get recognized out of makeup?
If it's a wrestling event.
Okay.
If it's a wrestling event, yes. I've been actually recognized once at a GNC because it was literally, this is going to sound like a lie. I walked in, the guy said hello, and I went, hello. And then he went, Danhausen? And I went, what? And he goes, I recognize the voice. And it was like, what? I was so caught off guard. And he was just like, how?
Do you think your real voice sounds that much like Danhausen?
I don't. I think it's, there's hints of it there,
Sure.
especially now. It's kind of like the Simpsons effect, sort of, where like Dan Castellaneta sounded much different in the earlier episodes where he was doing the voice.
Yeah.
And now I feel like he probably just sounds more like himself doing the voice. So it's probably morphed a little bit into just being me. But he's like, oh, no, I study voice acting. And I was like, he knew like instantly. It was crazy. Like I didn't have a full sentence with him or anything. It was just, hello. And then he had to have been a wrestling fan, obviously.
Sure.
So like there was already, I guess, that. But yeah, it was just weird. Just
If
in
you were-
Michigan.
If you wear something like this, you might get recognized for your tattoos.
Maybe. But yeah, I think I was just dressed like normal. I probably had a hoodie on. I think it was winter. So I probably had a coat on, actually.
And
but,
did you just immediately snap into Danhausen voice?
No, it gives me anxiety. I don't like to make other people uncomfortable as much as that character, like, I do it. So whenever I have to do like a public thing, I try to be very mindful of everybody because I don't want them to have a bad time, make them feel weird that we're doing something. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Like
I don't
people-
know.
Everybody loves Danhausen.
But this is true.
Yeah.
He's definitely not polarizing.
Love that Danhausen. No, but like you doing the voice for someone who's a fan, they'd probably be like, "This is amazing."
Well, I feel very weird doing the voice when I'm not in the
Ooh.
thing. If
Yeah.
I'm not in the makeup and I do
Yeah.
the voice, I hate it. I've done it because I've had to do some voiceover stuff, like just where like for AEW video game or whatever, like, and it's still a little weird. I actually think I probably had makeup on during that because it was just whatever. Like I was getting ready for the day anyway. But I've done some of the voice stuff without it, and I'm just like, it feels wrong.
Hmm.
I don't like it.
It's almost like putting on a mask and you
yes.
can become that character.
Yeah, but like I don't know if we had touched on this in the first time we talked, but it's very bad stage fright. Like for anything, like like speaking in public, when you'd have to write papers in school and go to the front of the class, I'd be shaking. So like it is kind of like wearing a mask for me, and it's helped me just be able to do public things much better,
And-
public speaking and everything.
I know you love The Simpsons, so when you're told or asked to do the voice, does it feel like the Bart Simpson? Like
Do the line, Bart.
I didn't do it.
Yes, sometimes yes, especially if it's I'll get it sometimes where like if I'm doing a meet and greet, I don't unless it's little kids, I don't really do the voice like 'cause I'm talking to adults, and it's also usually for a Comic-Con where I'm there for a long time. I can't do the voice for 8 hours straight. I won't have a voice for TV or like videos or whatever. So like sometimes people just walk up and do the voice, and I'm just like no. this also that's not like a polite way to ask that.
You
Like,
should just then curse them.
Usually they'll be like, well, can I at least get cursed? And I'll do that,
And they've been cursed though.
Like I can do the voice. It's just like don't just come up to me and say, hey, do the line, Bart. Like
Yeah.
it's weird.
I didn't do it.
Makes me feel really weird immediately.
Does it strain your voice?
A little bit, yes. So if I'm doing like cameos
Yeah.
for a long time, like Christmas time or Halloween, like I usually have a lot like of extra ones. I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
What?
At a certain point, like it starts to make me nauseous almost. I think I'm projecting for like I should probably take classes, which I think you've sent me things before, which I probably forgot to read, but I remembered right now. But there's probably techniques to not feel that way. But yeah, I think it's because I'm projecting from like the back of my throat.
Instead of your diaphragm.
Probably.
Right? That's a whole
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, and it just eventually makes me feel nauseous, and
Yeah.
I could start to lose my voice, but
Just have a chat with Justin Roberts.
yeah,
The way that he works his voice and somehow never loses it,
yeah.
he clearly knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
This is why I also save the voice for just TV things and video things, because like if I do my videos or whatever for Patreon or YouTube or whatever, like it's generally treated like a full work day, where it's like, no, we're gonna be filming for like 8 hours, so that's a day where I need to do the voice
Yeah.
for realistically not 8 hours, but multiple hours. So
Do you love that Danhausen?
I do. I have to at this point.
I thought true. I don't know.
No. I enjoy doing it still. Yeah. So I feel like it could very easily not be fun
Yeah.
or be turned into something that's like a chore. And sometimes it is. And then I just have to remember like old jobs that I had, like where I go, I just have to put on makeup and make someone smile. Like that's so much nicer. And like, I don't want to say nicer because like I used to be a nursing assistant. So like do 12-hour shifts. They were very hard usually.